Senator John McCain now staking his candidacy entirely on the surge in Iraq, entirely on his claim that he believed in the need for a surge of U.S. forces in Iraq even before President Bush did. Tonight has proven that he does not understand one of the fundamental facts about the surge. In an interview with the CBS Evening News earlier today, the presumptive Republican nominee getting the basic timeline and history of the surge completely wrong. We cannot play that portion of the interview for you because CBS, curiously to say the least, left it on the edit room floor. It aired Katie Couric's question, but in response it inserted part of McCain's answer to another question instead. And how do we know this? We consulted a transcript of the entire original interview, which was available on the CBS News website. Reading from the interview as it actually transpired, Couric asking, quote, Senator Obama says, while the increased number of U.S. troops contributed to increased security in Iraq, he also credits the Sunni awakening and the Shiite government going after militias, and says that there might have been improved security even without the surge. What's your response to that? McCain answering, quote, I don't know how you respond to something that is such a false depiction of what actually happened. Colonel McFarland was contacted by one of the major Sunni sheiks. Because of the surge, we were able to go out and protect that sheik and others, and it began the Anbar awakening. I mean, that's just a matter of history. Senator McCain is either wrong or lying. The military commander he mentioned, General Sean McFarland, then a colonel, briefed the media on the Anbar awakening on September 29, 2006, at least 2 months before rumors about the mere possibility of a surge of U.S. troops in Iraq. And it is Senator McCain, in portions of the interview CBS did choose to air, who insisted that Obama does not understand what is happening and what has happened in Iraq. Back in the region today, his opponent now in Jordan managing to keep his facts straight. Senator Obama saying from a windy hotel roof in Amman that precisely because security in Iraq has improved, because of the surge and those other factors, the U.S. urgently needs to turn its attention to Afghanistan, what he contends is and always was the central front in the war on terror. Even though he and General David Petraeus disagree on the candidate's 16-month timetable for withdrawal, Senator Obama telling reporters that he and the general are on the same page in getting American troops out of Iraq as safely as possible.
The focus of our conversation was not how precipitous my proposal was, because, as he emphasized, he too would like to see our troops out, violence reduced, and Iraqi a functioning, stable, democratic government that is keeping terrorists out and is functioning as an ally for us to the region. In his role as commander on the ground, not surprisingly, he wants to retain as much flexibility as possible in terms of accomplishing that goal. And what I emphasized to him was, you know, if I were in his shoes, I'd probably feel the same way. But my job as a candidate for president and a potential commander-in-chief extends beyond Iraq.
So there's no confusion on this point. Senator Obama's job as commander-in-chief would be setting the policy for U.S. national security. General Petraeus' job would be carrying it out.
What I've consistently said is that my job, should I be commander-in-chief, is to set a vision, a strategic vision of what's best for U.S. national security. I strongly believe that what is best for U.S. national security is to initiate a phased withdrawal and to set a time frame that is very consistent with what the Iraqis are now saying and I think can be accomplished.
Senator Obama rejecting the idea that by having a vision for U.S. national security that differs from the current administration's or from Senator McCain's, that automatically means he is ignoring the advice of military commanders on the ground, merely that his view needs to be broader than does theirs.
The notion is that either I do exactly what my military commanders tell me to do, or I'm ignoring their advice. No, I'm factoring in their advice, but placing it in this broader strategic framework that's required.
At this hour, Senator Obama already on the ground in Israel for the next leg of this trip. Earlier in Amman, the U.S. relationship with that country, the cause of Obama's first gaffe of the trip.
Let me be absolutely clear. Israel is a strong friend of Israel's. It will be a strong friend of Israel's under a McCain government administration. It will be a strong friend of Israel's under an Obama administration.
Keep your friends closer. Senator John Czechoslovakia McCain at a town hall in New Hampshire today, catching himself for once again citing the name of an Iron Curtain country that has not existed in 15 years. The fourth time, apparently, is the charm. Guess how many times today Senator McCain would take his new attack line out for a test drive?
I had the courage and the judgment to say that I would rather lose a political campaign than lose a war. It seems to me that Senator Obama would rather lose a war in order to win a political campaign.
Just 2 hours later, Senator McCain would again escalate his rhetoric against his opponent. The context, earlier today, a McCain surrogate, a New Mexico Congresswoman, Heather Wilson, claiming that McCain might withdraw from Iraq even sooner than Obama would. And McCain, when asked about it, not exactly denying it.
I think that they can be home depending on conditions on the ground. The surge has succeeded. It has succeeded. We are winning the war. If we'd have done what Senator Obama wanted, we'd have lost. When we adopted the surge, we were losing the war in Iraq. And I stood up and said I would rather lose a campaign than lose a war. Apparently, Senator Obama, who does not understand what's happening in Iraq or fails to acknowledge his success in Iraq, would rather lose a war than lose a campaign. We have succeeded. We'll bring our troops home. We are bringing them home, by the way, as we stand down from the surge. And we are succeeding, and we're winning. Senator Obama once said, well, if we have to, he'd go back. My friends, after we finish this, we'll never have to go back because we'll have won a victory.
McCain also used the lose the campaign line in that CBS interview. Let's turn now to our own Eugene Robinson, also, of course, associate editor, columnist of the Washington Post. Good evening, Gene.
Evening, Keith.
First, this would have to become news rather than being edited out by CBS, which apparently didn't know or didn't care the story it had in front of it. But should the notion actually catch on that Senator McCain got the fundamental facts of the surge wrong, he put the chicken before the egg or the cart before the horse, while he was attempting to bash his opponent for not understanding the fundamental facts about the surge, what happens if Senator Surge is caught in either a very big lie or a very big mistake?
I guess I hope what happens is it becomes a teachable moment about the history of the surge and the Sunni awakening in Anbar province. The facts are, as you stated, Keith, that in September 2006, the awakening was already taking shape, and it was nascent at that point, but it was already developing. Look, it was the Sunnis, the sheikhs or tribal leaders of Anbar province who decided they had had enough of Al-Qaeda. These guys, mostly foreigners, who were a bunch of jerks, they decided, and they didn't want them around anymore. They had served their useful purpose, and they're the ones who decided to get rid of them. They were happy to have U.S. help, U.S. largesse in getting rid of these characters, but it was their decision, it was their impetus, and it came well before the surge was even a notion, much less before any of the surge troops actually got there.
The other big thing, the other big statement out of McCain land today, which we heard at least 4 times, this false claim that Senator Obama would rather lose a war in order to win a political campaign, trying to establish the idea that there's only 2 choices here. Either the U.S. comes home victorious, mission accomplished again, even though we've already declared mission accomplished, or we come home as some sort of set of cowards. In saying this bluntly, has McCain crossed a line? I mean, this isn't questioning leadership on Obama's part. It isn't even questioning the patriotism, the standard stuff. He's accusing of an American senator of wanting to lose a war, which is about, I don't know, an inch, maybe an inch and a half away from accusing him of sedition.
Well, this is tough stuff. It's awfully early to be bringing out a bottle of the hard stuff like this, and you would think that then maybe on the eve of the election or something like that, if things look bad for McCain, you'd be hearing rhetoric like this. But here's what I wonder, though. I mean, is this just rhetoric? This dichotomy that gets set up? We win or we lose in Iraq, whereas what's really happening in Iraq, of course, is A, more an occupation than a war, B, a very complicated situation in which, the kind of World War II concept of, we win or we lose. Well, whatever happens, we win some, we lose some, and it's going to be shades of gray no matter what happens. And I certainly hope Senator McCain understands that reality, and so I guess in that sense I hope it's just rhetoric, whether appropriate or not, and not actually the way he sees things in Iraq. Because if he's waiting for some sort of handing over of swords to General MacArthur at the end of this, it ain't gonna happen.